Selamat siang semuanya. Does anybody not speak Indonesian here? Saya namanya Obin. I'm Bin. I was born Ang Siok Bin. And then at around 5 years old, I was sent to Hong Kong to a Catholic convent school where they changed my name to Josephine Ang. And when I was around 11 or 12, I was informed that I had to change my name again. So I became Josephine Werati Komara. But everybody I knew around me called me Obin. So I hope I can be Obin to you. I was invited by a lady, a woman, by the name of Grace, who came to me a few months ago, who said to me, Bin, jadi pembicara ya? Where? Saya bilang, di UPH sekolahan. Enggak ada deh. Okay. I said, ngomong apa? Ya ngomong aja. Ngomong apa, Grace? Just the way you are. Tukang kain. Okay. No, but you're so Indonesian. I am. So just go there and talk. So I'm going to be here and talk to you, okay? I attended that wonderful school until the age of 11, until my father died. And I never went back to school. I think they've had enough of me. Banyak urusannya sekolah itu. Itu sekolah bagus sekali, tapi banyak urusannya. In the morning, we had a geography teacher who would come in and say, it took billions and billions of years to create the world. Okay, ya deh. Ada fossil, ada dinosaur, ada meteor, ada orang yang tadinya ngerangkang, terus berdiri, terus jalan. I said, okay. All right, recess, makan siang. And then a wonderful sister, namanya Sister Candida Maria. She said, girls, it took God 7 days and 7 nights to create the world. And on the 7th day, he rested. And that is why we do not work on Sunday. I put up my hand and I asked, okay, who's lying here? I said, ini ada yang gak sinkron gitu loh. I was 8 or 9. But things like that happen in my school. So, yeah, things like that. And then they told me that this is a Catholic school with a mother house in New York. It's called Maryknoll Sisters. It's considered one of the best in Hong Kong, in the colony. Waktu kita masuk, saya ingat, ada tulisan di sana. The headmistress said, girls, you are here to learn to speak and not to talk. Maksudnya bicara, bukan ngomong. Okay. Nggak boleh asal bunyi. Mesti ada essence-nya. Okay. All right. So maybe part of my literacy is because of that. Thank you to the sisters. Tapi nggak lama. Sampai umur 12 tahun. Ever since then, I never went back to school. I think there's something fortunate and yet unfortunate about that. I have come to the point and to realize that you can learn so much. And school is not the only place where you can learn. It is wonderful, it's such a privilege when you can attend a school, especially such a wonderful, well-prepared school with beautiful curriculums. But it's not the only place where you can learn. And there's so many other important things that we need in life, sometimes the school is unable to give. I started gallivanting around Indonesia because I was not going to school, so I could do whatever I want. My father, yeah, you got me into this, Grace, okay. Then my father had the first travel agency in Indonesia long before Garuda Indonesia. So the permit was even given by the Dutch, the KLM, the Koningberg, that old, okay? So when he died, I had to work in the travel agency. But that was where I learned ticketing. I learned Mr. and Mrs. Tandean always goes to Manado or Makassar. Keluarga Napitupulu always goes to Medan. Then I learned about the family names and the surnames. Then I started to see the pattern. I started to understand Indonesians and Indonesia. My father used to take me by train to Solo and Surabaya. And we would go by train from Stasiun Kota, end up in Gubeng, Stasiun Gubeng in Surabaya. And there's a wonderful soto Gubeng. And we'd always have soto there. These are all the memories of the past, the smells and aromas of what I remember. When I was 17, I was collecting a lot of knickknacks from all around Indonesia, mostly antiques, I realize. I don't know why, but maybe because I love beautifully well-made things with history. In Indonesia, we have antiques like furniture and cloth and jewelry and bronzes and ceramics. This country, being such a beautiful and old country, endless, you find everything here. I was fortunate because most of the things that I collect then, I don't even see now. Most of the tribes or the ethnic groups that I used to meet do not even exist anymore. And from all the collections that I collected, my favorite was the kain, the cloth. The archipelago of Indonesia, Nusantara. You had all the woven cloths from Batak, Sulawesi. You have all the beautiful cloths from Toraja, all woven. Ikat, whatever. And then you have these islands of Java, the Javanese coast. All the batiks were there. Remember, batiks are only made in Java. There is no such thing as batik Papua. Nggak ada. I refuse. Nggak ada tuh. Batik Batak. Orang Batak adatnya kayak gitu kok bisa batik kain pelan-pelan satu kain 7 bulan. Nggak diinjek-injek udah bagus. Everything has to go along with the culture. I hope you agree with that. Nggak mungkin. It's in our mental template. It's in our character. Batik is only made in Java. Batik as we know how it is made, how it should be made. Batik tulis yang halus. Okay? I collected all that. I had 2 big chests. Satu, isinya all the woven cloths. And the other ones were all the batik cloths from all over Java. Dari Kudus, Kediri, Solo, Lasem, Cirebon, Pekalongan. Semuanya ada di situ. All about 80 to 100 years old. Dah? I don't know, I was totally in love with them. Very passionate about them. Then I thought, I think we better start to weave. When I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, I started to do weaving using the raw silk, sutra mentah, very thick. We used to buy it dari Departemen Perhutani. And I would weave. And I would weave with a certain technique called ikat. Very thick. Not usable for clothing. Upholsteries, curtains, bed covers, interior work. I was very fortunate. Nah itu kali ya yang namanya doing the right thing at the right time. At that time, Jakarta was booming. Arya Duta Hotel lagi mau bangun. Mandarin Hotel mau bangun. Hilton Hotel mau bangun. And tidak ada kain upholstery atau interior di Indonesia except mine. So, we did it. We did it. And say 1979, 1980, 81, we went on weaving and weaving and weaving with very thick fiber. As you all know, it's like knitting. If you use big fibers, cepat sekali selesainya. But if you use very fine fibers, lama selesainya. Now, by 1985, we could already weave very, very fine. Itu yang namanya practice makes perfect. Dari yang tadinya bisa tenunnya cuman tebal, lama-lama bisa tipis sekali. Something happened to me in 1985, which really shocked me and threw me out of bounds. I was in limbo. I had a divorce. I had a son. His name is Elang. And he's so naughty, they used to call him anak setan. So, being a divorcee and a single parent, and a son, who would love to put ice cubes into all the tamu-tamu punya sepatu. And here I was trying to sell, and he would start putting ice cubes into everybody's shoes. Yaudah, nasib, nggak apa-apa. Okay, we go on. I was getting bored. By that time, the whole of Indonesia was already copying. Copying is also a very Indonesian culture, so we have to accept it. Itu sudah bagiannya. So, I was bored. Semua orang udah bikin. So one night, I will share with you in this room tonight, I will share with you something very important. In 1987, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, with a glass of wine. I was still smoking at that time. I opened the chest full of weavings and spread them on the floor. Then I opened the chest full of batiks and I spread them on the floor. And it was around 3:30 or about 4 o'clock in the morning. I always call that the magical hour. I saw in my mind's eye, di mata kepala, a beautiful piece of thin, hand-woven silk cloth. Hand-woven silk, tipis sekali, with batik work and patterns on it. I saw that. And I knew what I had to do. I had to create the perfect Indonesian cloth. Maybe for most of you, you don't understand why it was such a breakthrough. Perlu diketahui bahwa all those beautiful antique textiles, antique batiks that you see in Indonesia, dari 100 tahun, 150 tahun, apa deh, they were all on cotton. Am I right? All of them are on cotton. Indonesia does not produce cotton. Cotton is imported as a result of trade from China and England. During the VOC, the world was divided into two. We had the colonial British taking India and other places. We had the VOC, colonial Belanda, taking Indonesia. During the what do you call Industrial Revolution, 18 something, the British were able to replicate the movements of the pen by machine, mechanical usage. They were weaving looms. They were using machines to weave cotton. They produced an abundance of meterage, which they could not consume as much. So the companies, the British company, bartered together with the Dutch. The Dutch said, we have a colony in Indonesia that has a tradition called batik, and they really need the cloth. So they bartered. So many of the antique textiles, the antique batiks, the cotton ones that you find are mostly using Chinese cotton or British cotton or Indian cotton. And then from the 1970s, we had famous batik brands at that time. We had Batik Tsamara, Batik Kris, Batik Iwan Tirta. We had so many. They were using cotton, imported, and using imported silk. Crêpe de Chine from China, Shantung from China, Habotai from China, satin from China, all machine made, needed for the batiks. I thought if I could weave the cloth and put the batik on it, then we would have the perfect Indonesian cloth. And I am a romantic. And I thought by putting the weaving techniques of luar Pulau Jawa and putting the batik technique of Jawa, I was putting Indonesia together in a piece of cloth, I thought. And that was what I did. So we launched it in 1989. Jadi, if anybody ever ask you, ada yang nanya, sekarang di mana-mana ada kain batik di atas tenun tangan, right? Everywhere you go. Since when? Then you tell them, since 1989. That's also another suggestion. I wouldn't dare say advice, but another suggestion is, if ever you see anything, whatever, apa aja, don't just accept it. Always ask yourself, sejak kapan ada? Siapa yang bikin? Dari mana ini? You need to ask. Today, you see many people walking around in the daytime to the office, to the market, boarding a plane, pakai kain. Kain is a very beautiful concept. It's a wonderful feeling, and you don't know how it feels until you wear it. It is a sensual feeling. It is a beautiful feeling. And once you wear it, every part of your body moves different. Rasanya beda. And one thing I'd like to share with you is, you cannot love something that you don't know. You cannot love Indonesia if you don't know enough about it. You have to know more. Mesti lebih kenal. Bukan hanya tahu, tapi mesti lebih kenal. Gitu. I'm not very good with that thingy. Maria, can I have the nasi tumpeng, please? I'm very bad with gadgets. And one thing I would also like to share with you is the work that we are doing. Banyak orang bilang, oh Obin tukang batik. Oh no. Saya tukang kain. I'm a cloth maker. We weave our cloth, ditenun sendiri, dipintal, spinning benangnya sendiri, ditenun sendiri. Batik is only 40% of our work. Belum lagi the dyeing, belum lagi the stitching, belum all the funny cloth work that we do. Yes, people say that Obin tukang batik yang bagus, betul. Well, we do make the best batik in town, we do. But I am not a tukang batik, I'm a tukang kain. Batik is only one of the many types of cloth making techniques in Indonesia. For your information, in the glossary, in the world's glossary of textile making, 80% of the technique exists in Indonesia. 80% teknik cara pembuatan kain ada di Indonesia. Yang kita nggak punya cuma bikin karpet, rugs, tapestry, kepanasan. We don't need it. Kambing kita nggak bisa dicukur, beda. Dan kalau panas nggak perlu karpet, nggak lain. Sama lace. Lace juga itu. Lace itu kebanyakan tempat-tempat kayak Gorontalo, kayak mana-mana yang ada lace making itu. Karena dulu ada Christian missionaries yang datang. Itu semua dari missionaries atau dari Chinese, old Chinese like in Padang, in Minangkabau. Jadi textile is a very, very important thing. Dulu, when I was younger, if somebody walks across, we could say, tuh orang Palembang. Pasti deh salah satunya Jawa. Kalau nggak lakinya Jawa, istrinya. You can see from the cloth they wear and the way they wear it. That is called identity. Itu yang namanya identitas, budaya. That is what makes you unique and different and individual. One other thing that I made a point to tell you is antara traditional sama modern. Traditional is not the opposite of modern. Modern is not the opposite of traditional. Traditional is the way we are, how we were brought up, what we went through. Di rumah makan nasi, makan asin, mas sambal, that's tradition. Modern is your way of thinking. Modern is your approach, is how you see something. Tradition is the way you are. Style is character and personality. Jadi itu mesti dipisahkan. Jangan bilang, ibu tradisional banget deh. Aduh ibu, saya kalau lihat ibu ingat mak saya, masa? I'm sure her grandmother wouldn't wear shoes like this. Jadi, be very careful. The modern person is the way of thinking. It's in how you see things, how you value things. Tradition is about values, nilai-nilai. Soal bahasa Jawanya apa? Pakem. Ya. And then, especially for the children yang dari UPH, Mas UPH, ada satu saya ingin ingatkan. Sometimes it's not only about right or wrong, tapi soal pantas nggak pantas. Pantas nggak pantas itu lebih penting daripada right or wrong. Just because you're right, it doesn't mean you have the right to scream and demand like a blowfish. Gitu loh. Manners penting. Jadi contoh ya, sekarang banyak orang tinggal di apartemen. Ibunya sama bapaknya sama neneknya datang nengokin. The grandparents come and say hello, want to see the grandchildren, they have wonderful lunch together. All right, we have to go now, bye. Udah, they open the door, bye. Bye. Mestinya diantar kan kalau tinggal, if you live on the ground, you would send them out to the car. I think it would not be a bad idea that even though you are now apartmented, to also send them down to the car. I think kalau anak Indonesia bisa kayak gitu, waduh, that would make us very special. Gitu. Penting itu. Mar, sore ada nasi tumpeng nggak? Nasi tumpeng. Nasi tumpeng tuh nasi kuning. The yellow is actually the origin from saffron, from the Hindu days of Indonesia, Nusantara. The Indians would use saffron and we use kunyit, but the yellow is the message. Okay? What does it mean? Why is it that you always have a cone-shaped thing with all the food around it? Has anybody ever introduced that to any of you? Why? Every Selamatan, we use that. The cone-shaped yellow is the volcano. And from the volcano, we become very fertile. And around it, we have poultry, we have beans, we have vegetables, we have fish, everything that we need surrounding the volcano. It is from this very dynamic and dangerous volcano that the soil of our country becomes so fertile. And it is because of this that we are all feeding from the many, many volcanoes in this country. Untuk bilang terima kasih kepada alam, to say thank you to nature. This is what I thought. That's why sometimes you see that big chili stuck on top. That's supposed to be the lava, I guess. All right. So sometimes you see people cut the top and then they give it to someone. Actually, that's not quite so correct. It should be, the top should be taken, and in our hearts we present it to God untuk bilang terima kasih. And then we take buat yang orang. Jadi yang di atas tuh nggak boleh dimakan sebetulnya, itu untuk Tuhan. So, I hope you have a better understanding of this next time when you have that. I have prepared some of the pictures here, and many of them that you can see, Maria. Most of them are how we do our cloths, the weavers, the spinners, and most of them are how you see the cloth as being very much a part of our modern day society. The cloth doesn't belong in the past. The cloth belongs in the future. Jadi apapun yang kita lakukan, kerjaan apapun yang kalian lakukan, IT, video, media, computers, whatever, science, please bear in mind it's from the past into the present and for the future. Tekanannya selalu from, into, and for. Dari apa, untuk kemana. Dari apa, kemana, untuk apa. So understanding how something became to be is very important. Okay, I guess that's it.